Have you ever considered that when leaving a real estate company, the potential loss of momentum and the impact that has on your business, your reputation, and your earnings? So many times people do not consider this aspect of leaving a brand. I want to talk about 3 aspects that you might want to consider before upping and leaving a brand. Now, I'm not speaking about leaving a toxic brand, a brand that's just not interested in you. That's a different case. We're talking about those are your worst case scenario of issues. And perhaps rightly so, you've got to move on. I'm talking about you rooted and grounded in a great brand. Everything's going great. But somehow you got a bright idea to now go and for whatever reason join another brand. Number 1, you lose momentum. When you lose momentum because when you leave, you've got to adjust to the new brand, their culture, their way of doing things. And everyone responds differently to change. And sometimes it can take you 2 months to settle in. And we look at the negative impact that has on A, your reputation, which I'll get to now, and B, your finances, which I'll get to now. So let's talk about reputational damage. Reputational damage is not always measurable. In some cases, people will say to you, I'm not doing business with you because I saw a Google ad that said this and that about you, and therefore I'm going to withdraw my business from you. That business may have generated 100,000 Rand for you, so you can measure the damage. But here's something to consider. Sometimes because you change, the people that don't phone you, because you've changed, you can't measure those losses. And also, when you're changing brands 2, 3 times, it speaks of inconsistency. It speaks of double-mindedness. And someone that's inconsistent, they are generally not trusted. And you don't want to do that to your reputation. And then number 3, the financial loss. Because when you don't operate at full capacity within the first 60 days, it has a direct impact on your earnings. So before you leave a brand that's actually there for you, remember, let me go off on a tangent. You're never going to find a perfect brand. It's like looking for the perfect husband, or the perfect wife, or the perfect best friend, or the perfect shopping mall, or there's no such thing. What we do have control over is to be grateful for what's working well, dialogue about the things we want to improve, and then hopefully go through a process of improving that. I find too many people are fickle. The coffee wasn't good enough. That's why they leave. The phone wasn't working, and then they left. Or the fax machine perhaps was out of toner on a morning when their cat bit the dog and the dog ate the parrot, and then they stood up and left. Perhaps it's time to reconsider before moving. Because are you willing to risk your momentum, your reputation, and your finances? Those are the 3 things that one can think of just off the top of your head. Once you begin to dive into that, get into the nuts and bolts of it. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to look at the cost of moving to a new brand. What does it actually cost you? Really cost you? What is the impact it's had? And we're going to look at some case studies of agents that I've spoken to, that's seasoned people. I'm talking about 10 years plus, that can speak about, shared with me, the impact that moving agencies have had on their business. And if people that's multimillionaires in this industry speaks and they're successful, I think it's worth listening. So the next time that you want to move, remember the following 3 things from Gary Phelps at Icon Property Group. You lose momentum, you lose reputation, and you lose income. Are you willing to risk those 3? Until next time, bye for now.